Yes.
Why is Iceland the world's global leader in gender equality? Topping the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index for 12 consecutive years is a feat that only Iceland can pull off. The top ranking confirms Iceland's enviable achievements as a proponent of gender equality, which is evident in the country's structure. It also confirms its position as a reference point for the worldwide struggle. What is a secret behind the country's reputation as a global leader in gender equality over the years? What distinguishes this small nation among its contemporaries as a pacesetter in gender disparity elimination? We invite you to join us as we answer the question, why is Iceland the world's global leader in gender equality? You will then see why the country deserves the top spot. 1. Paid paternity leave. For men. Unlike in most countries where only new mothers are granted maternity leaves to attend to their newborn babies, Iceland grants new fathers paid paternity leaves to assist their wives at that crucial, challenging, and exhausting child-rearing stage. The country intends to ensure that newborns receive proper care from both parents. With fathers at home to support them, women will have enough rest and give their babies undivided attention without being burdened with child-rearing responsibilities. The paid leave is an opportunity for a new father to fulfill his financial responsibilities while assisting his wife to nurse their newborn properly. The new policy was considered a welcome development in the country, as it offers new mothers an opportunity to recuperate from postnatal trauma with their partners solidly behind them, offering them moral, physical, and emotional support. 2. Increased women employment rates. Women's employment rate was disturbingly low in Iceland before the government stepped in to correct the anomaly. Decades ago, job opportunities favored men over women in Iceland, no thanks to the deep-rooted gender discrimination in employment. However, the gender equality policy has changed the narrative in favor of Icelandic women. The act has reduced the disparity in the women/men employment ratio by giving women equal chances in the workforce, thereby empowering them for financial independence. The country currently boasts an impressive 71.2% women employment rate among job-ready women, as female labor force participation increased significantly since 1990. At the peak of its female inclusion in the workforce in 2018, about 88% of the country's working class were women, one of the highest global women employment rates. With the country's affordable and sometimes free education, the door is open for all female Icelanders to be well educated and increase their slots in the employment market. Iceland is a promising country for career-oriented women as the country balances employment opportunities for men and women, one of the factors behind its rating as a world leader in gender equality. 3. Impressive women participation in politics, women's suffrage. For decades, men dominated the political arena. Iceland wasn't an exception. Icelandic women were confined outside politics or were given the scrums to fight after when men have shared the key positions. It's now a completely different ballgame in the country, as it currently champions all-inclusive politics where men and women have equal chances. In 1980, a movement that would cause a paradigm shift in the country's politics and shift attention to women was launched when Iceland elected its first female president, Vigdis Finnbogadóttir. She held the position for 16 years. Some 23 years later, Jóhanna Sigurðardóttir became Iceland's first female prime minister. These two female political heavyweights have challenged the country's female citizens to be more proactive in politics, while setting a good precedent for them. In 2016, a record 30 out of 63, approximately 48% parliament members were women. Although the number of female parliament members has slightly reduced in recent years, the country hasn't looked back. It keeps the door open for interested female parties to join politics and exercise their rights to be voted for. Women's suffrage is still being championed in Iceland, as more female Icelanders are testing their political strength more than ever before. 4. Equal inheritance rights. The year 1850 was a turning point in Iceland's inheritance history. Before the pivot year, women received just a third of their inheritance. However, that changed when the country granted equal inheritance rights to its citizens, becoming the world's first country to remove that disparity. The equal inheritance rights are not limited to biological children. Adopted children also have a place in the equal inheritance rights, as it stipulates that they should be treated the same way as biological children as far as inheritance is concerned. The equal inheritance provision also covers the descendants of a deceased beneficiary of an inheritance. The objective is to ensure that all prospective beneficiaries of inheritance are treated equally and are not denied their rights, even if they are deceased. 5. Quota system on board membership. Iceland extended its gender equality to board membership by encouraging organizations and companies to increase the number of women on their boards. The new gender equality law requires a company with a minimum of 50 employees to constitute a board with at least 40% of each gender represented. The new directive, as enshrined in Article 15 of the Act on Equal Status and Equal Rights of Women and Men, removed the restrictions previously placed on the female members of the country's workforce that prevented them from reaching the peak of their careers. 6. Outlawing sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is a punishable offense that may attract up to 16 years of jail term in Iceland. In 2007, the government introduced the Act on Protection Against Violence to address the different forms of violence in the country. A new criminal code spells out the punishment for defaulters. According to Article 218 of the Criminal Code, any form of sexual harassment attracts a fine of 2 years' imprisonment. While expatiating on what constitutes sexual violence, the law on equal status explains that punishable sexual assault includes any offense of physical, symbolic, or verbal sexual behavior which may affect the victim negatively and rob them of their dignity. 7. Equal pay standard. Another area where Iceland has made its mark is the removal of payment disparity from its workforce. According to a global gender gap report, the wage gap in the country has been reduced to a mere 10% as the government enforces the equal pay standard policy, which is a commendable effort. In 2012, the Icelandic government established the equal pay standard in line with the global ISO standards to ensure compliance with its directive on pay equality. An equal pay certification is offered by organizations that check the boxes and comply with the directive. 8. No room for commercializing sex. Sex commercialization is a criminal offense in Iceland because the country frowns at the global practice of women objectification. For decades, Iceland has taken a clear stance on prostitution and banned anything closely or remotely associated with the sex trade, such as pornography, strip clubs, prostitution, and other related practices, to drive home its point. In 2009, Iceland implemented the equality model, which illegalizes sex commercialization. Its decision to ban sex hawking is based on the sad reality that women prostitutes are often subjected to sexual abuse and are economically vulnerable, while the act itself is sexist, inherently violent, demeaning, and racist. In a landmark election in 2010, where only a minority voted in favor of sex commercialization, Iceland completely outlawed strip clubs on the premise that employers shouldn't monetize their employees' nudity. Through its stance on prostitution, the Icelandic government recognizes women as equal citizens who shouldn't be treated as commodities. 9. Ministry of Gender Equality. While this may sound strange to many, the Icelandic government created a Ministry of Gender Equality to enforce its numerous gender equality policies. This ministry is to oversee the Equal Status Council, the Complaints Committee, and the Center for Gender Equality to chart a legal means of eliminating gender discrimination completely, while promoting gender equality across the country. Through these committees and centers, the ministry has contributed significantly to the country's progress in gender equality. 10. Gender-neutral job classifications. Iceland is one of the leading countries where women won't be denied job opportunities on the basis of their gender. Rather, they have equal opportunities with their male counterparts in the workforce, thanks to the government's stance on ensuring that its citizens are treated equally without giving any gender a special concession. More so, no jobs are specifically reserved for a gender. Job classifications based on gender are a rarity. A qualified professional can take up any job in his or her discipline without the fear of discrimination. Icelandic women now take up jobs they're qualified for, even in seemingly male-dominated industries, and vice versa. This arrangement has ensured job equality across the country and made Iceland the world leader in gender equality. Do you agree or disagree with Iceland's ranking as the world leader in gender equality? Please, your opinion on this is so valuable. Kindly drop it in the comments section. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.